Today I'm going to do a demonstration on how to throw a bowl. I position the camera how it is because it is very important for you to be able to see the interior of this form and how it changes. This is one of the first forms that you are going to be really focusing on how the interior looks, which is very different because most of the other forms you're looking at the exterior form. So I'm going to start off with 2 pounds of clay. My centering is still exactly the same as it was. My opening will be the same. But what is going to change is my widening. In the past, you would widen straight back, forming a flat base, right angle, and straight sides. But I'm making a bowl now, so I want to make my interior curved. So I usually like to use my left fingers in, and I'm going to just scoop the clay using my fingertips. You see my fingertips here, to create a curved interior, just like a bowl. I want to almost have it be that if I cut this off right now, I would still be able to use this interior space as a bowl. So I don't want any flatness to the base. I don't want any corners. So by running my fingers back and forth like this, I am compressing the base, which in bowls is very important to do, as these forms are one of the highest potential to have S cracks. So I will even further use my metal rib tool, this curve, on this interior to additionally compress. Notice that this form is backed by my hand, so it's able to remain steady. Okay, so now I'm going to turn my wheel speed down to half. And I'm going to try and remove as much water out of the interior as I'm throwing, so you can see what's happening. So, this throwing is throwing and shaping at the same time. So I'm going to be pushing out with my inside hand as I'm pulling. All right, so my inside hand starts at the center. I'm gonna indent the form. Now we see how that interior shape got narrower when I did that. What I need to do now is I'm gonna push out with my inside hand. Now right about here, my fingers are meeting, just as if it was a cylinder. They're kind of opposite each other right here. And I'm gonna start pulling the form. Now as I'm pulling, I am pushing out with my inside hand. So I'm allowing the form to have that shape. All right, so I'm gonna pull again. I'm gonna remove the water so you can see what happens to the interior, which will be a little bit easier to see now. I'm gonna put my fingers starting in the interior bottom. I'm gonna indent. You see the change that happened in the interior now. Now it has this shelf. Now what I need to do is I need to fix the form by shaping and pushing. Now I'm gonna pull together. Slow off the rim and compress the rim. Okay, I'm going to shift the camera for a second. Okay, I shifted the camera so you'd now be able to see the form on the side. I need to now shape this form better. Right now, it still is very cone-shaped. It doesn't have that volume of a bowl. So I can use my inside fingers. Now my inside fingers are still going to start in the interior center of the piece. And I'm going to start pushing out. And so slowly I'm bringing some more volume into that form. What I like to do too is I like to use my metal rib tool. So again, I'm going to push the form into this metal rib tool. So it's hovering. Now the form has hit the metal rib tool. And slowly off. So now you can see the volume that a bowl needs to have. My interior has remained very nice curve. And I am going to cut this form in half for you to see a cross section. Wasn't the best cut. All right, so with bowls, it is important to know that you are going to need to trim. So it is very normal to have some clay here and here. If I didn't have that clay, this bowl would slump on the wheel. It would not be able to maintain its shape. So I understand that I am going to need to trim, and also trim a foot. All right, so I'm going to do that one more time. Widening is different. I'm going to scoop my fingers and create that curve. I can then use my metal rib tool to really refine that curve, compress it even further. Okay. Slow my wheel speed down. My hand will start in the interior center. I'm going to indent. My inside hand has not moved. Now my inside hand moves. My outside hand has not moved yet. Now both of them move. Slow off the rim. Compress the rim. Okay, so again, hand starts interior center. Indent. Pause. Inside hand moves. Pause. Both hands move. Understanding when to stop pulling so my form doesn't collapse. I can still probably do one more pull. Indent. Pause. Inside hand moves. Both hands move together. Using now my metal rib tool. Hand on the inside center. Tool is hovering. I'm going to push the form into the tool. At this point too, I can play with how my rim is. I can make a bowl's rim slightly tuck inward. I can make the rim flare outward. So there are a lot of bowls out there, lots of different shapes for you to experiment with. I'm going to take some of the excess clay off of the bottom. Water down. With bowls, it can be a little bit more challenging to lift the piece off of the wheel. When I'm throwing usually about 1.5 to 2 pounds of clay, I'm fine lifting the piece off of the wheel. If I'm throwing any forms that are larger than that, I am going to want to start using bat pins and a bat so I don't have to move the piece off the wheel with my hands. But when this piece is small enough, I'm going to use my hands like this, and I'm going to kind of separate my fingers out, just like this. And I'm going to push in. I'm going to give it a little turn. I can always turn my wheel on very slowly, holding that form, and now allowing me to lift it off.